The past month has seen an explosion in high-fidelity aircraft add-ons into the flight simulator scene. We've gone from the best jet aircraft available being the freeware fly-by-wire A320neo, to having a slew of options from multiple generations. Fenix Simulations, the new kid on the block, has thrown their hat into the ring with their model of the Airbus A320. Let's find out if it's worth picking up. Bottom line, Fenix Simulations have built an absolutely incredible aircraft. The product has managed to capture the complexity of the aircraft's systems while creating something that is still approachable to a casual simmer, and features a wide array of fine attention to detail that sets a new standard for commercial aircraft in the sim. While the aircraft shines, there are some clear negatives that can't be overlooked, most notably of which is its performance and stability. I'll be getting into more details on these bright spots and complaints, but overall, this is such a fun aircraft to fly, and at $60, it's an incredible deal. This aircraft is a joy to fly, from hand flying it to the autopilot control. The autopilot works wonderfully, everything works as expected. The autopilot does full descent management and ascent management, and it has a fully working auto land. Talking more about the autopilot, this has been the most fun aircraft I have flown in bad weather. I'm not quite sure what Fenix did differently, but this is the first aircraft I have flown where the airplane actually seemed to respond to wind and gusts as it flew, as opposed to just flying straight through. It made the flying experience much more sensory rich. One of my favorite parts of this airplane is how great it is to hand fly. It is probably the best feeling airliner I have used. It gives a real good sense of the forces on all of the control surfaces.
200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard. 5.
You also can see how well the fly-by-wire protections work when you choose to fly like an idiot. I tried to stall the airplane. You literally can't. The flight computer overrides you and engages full throttle, even if you have auto throttle turned off, when you get close to stalling, just like a real Airbus would. The system complexity also sets a new bar for simulators. I'm going to admit here, I am not an Airbus A320 pilot, so I am not speaking from experience, but I have never in all of my years of flight simulator seen this many pilots talking about how well this product simulates the real aircraft and captures all of its subtleties. As some of you may remember from the quote-unquote scandal from last year, the aircraft systems for Fenix are built off of the ProSim A320, a professional avionics software that is used for actual A320 training. The functioning of the aircraft reflects this professional level, and you can see it in how the hydraulic system and electronic system functions. There is an incredibly rich and detailed simulation of the systems on this aircraft happening. There is also a full failure simulation happening in the sim. You can have failures generate randomly, or from time-based use. Or you can cut out a circuit breaker. This feature is a first for any jetliner like this in any simulator. I also want to talk about the approachability of this for a casual simmer. This might seem daunting, hearing about how detailed the aircraft systems are, and it is. However, if you are already able to follow the standard procedures that you fly when using the fly-by-wire A320neo, you can step in this cockpit and start flying immediately. It's the same process. The cockpit is incredibly well done. The authenticity of the model is spot on, as to be expected. Texture-wise, this is a work of art. The surfaces look worn, like you are sitting in an actually used Airbus A320 cockpit. I personally love the textures on the number pad for the flight management computer. It doesn't look like something that someone put together in Photoshop. It looks real. This detail applies throughout the whole cockpit. Further, everything, and I mean everything, is clickable. You can open up the window, pull out the tray table, and pull out the circuit breakers, although I wouldn't advise touching that back wall while flying. Further, you can open up the cockpit door to the passenger cabin. Behind these doors, you will find a fully modeled passenger cabin connected to the virtual cockpit, and you can move through it freely. I have absolutely loved this feature, as I've moved my camera around mid-flight using my controller. Getting outside, the details don't stop. The model is visually stunning. The aircraft takes advantage of all of the capabilities of Microsoft Flight Simulator. The way light and reflections move off the surfaces is incredible. I love walking around the aircraft before flight and seeing the different surfaces, and seeing the reflections. And then there is the textures around the various ports, the way the oils flow back. The aircraft looks like it's actually been in service for years. You can see this same detail around the passenger windows. Remarkably, Fenix has put the same effort into all of the liveries, and they give you the option to download 178 in total, all in 8K resolution. A truly impressive selection. Let's crank the music down that all of you in the comments like to complain about, and talk about the sounds. The sound package here is immersive. In every different part of the aircraft, you are going to experience something different, including as you slew through the cabin. The roar of the engines on takeoff is authentic. With this being said, I do wish the engine sounds in the cockpit were a bit louder. I do clearly notice when I put my engines to toga, but it's not truly a roar, which I do notice when I am outside. The electronic flight bag here is an absolute thing of beauty, the best I've used in Flight Sim. Its feature list is immense, and I won't get into everything in this video. You can learn more by watching our video about the Fenix EFB. The EFB provides incredible integration, working seamlessly with SimBrief and Navigraph. Most impressively is the performance calculator. It calculates your departures and arrival performance, allowing you to calculate how to properly derate your takeoffs and calculate how much brake performance you need on landings. This pairs nicely with how you use the aircraft, as there is a full systems failure simulation on this aircraft, so you'll want to avoid doing full power takeoffs and preserve your engine life. There is also a settings page where you can change aircraft functions in Sim, a really neat feature. Beyond the main items, I want to have a whole section in this review dedicated to the little things. Part of what has brought me so much joy with this aircraft is noting the subtle things the developer has included in their design. Items I wouldn't otherwise expect, but really drive an immersive experience. When you're flying into the sun, you have the ability to put down a sunshade, and the sunshade does a wonderful job filtering out the rays and providing a view for when you are landing. When you are flying in the rain and you turn on the window wipers, the wipers actually appear to slide the rain away. When you open up a window, the temperature inside the cockpit changes. When you open the cockpit door behind you, the sounds audibly change and you can hear the ambiance. The flaps shake in the wind when extended. The airplane feels alive. Here's where things get tough, and honestly, where user experience is going to vary. I have a pretty beefy machine, a 3070 Ti, an i7 7700K, and 32 gigs of RAM. And on the ground, I get around 20 to 25 frames per second, totally capped by my CPU. For reference, I get a solid 40 to 45 frames a second using the PMDG 737, and I got around 35 frames using the fly-by-wire A320 Neo. Frustratingly, there isn't much I can do to fix this. is that performance continues even when I turn my settings in Flight Simulator to the lowest settings. This aircraft performs all of its simulations and computations external to the sim, and is incredibly CPU intensive. There are some modifications that you can do to your performance in the Fenix app, but that has only taken me up a few frames. This external application is where I have run into some stability issues. The application starts up externally when you load into the simulator with the A320, but I've found that it doesn't have a 100% success rate starting up. Further, I've found that my sim crashes more often than it had in the past when using this aircraft. I've been flying this aircraft now for a few weeks, and I've had the sim crash desktop on me twice mid-flight. The previous aircraft had not had similar issues for me. I want to caveat all of this with 3 points. 1. The performance is going to vary from system to system. It seems that this product may be optimized for newer CPUs, and users that have those computers are getting silky smooth performance. My colleague at FSElite, who has a newer computer, is getting great performance. 2. The developer does appear to be aware of the performance situation that lower-end CPUs are facing, and they are working to improve the situation. 3. The instability might also be caused by Sim Update 9, which has been annoying for many users. I spent the first several minutes here talking this airplane up, and then the last minute complaining about it. So, what do I think? Well, it's a great airplane, but flawed on performance and stability. These 2 points, though, are a fixable problem, and items that the developer seems to be focused on approaching. If you have a really good computer, I doubt you would have the same negative experiences I've been having with performance. If you have a computer worse than mine and are concerned about the performances I described, I may be wary and wait for the developer to iron out some of the kinks on performance. Other than those concerns, I think Fenix has put together something really special. It is absolutely worth a buy. That will do it for this review. If you have any thoughts or questions, put them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see everyone next time.